and get your hair cut way up high. Get yourself a lawyer, son. You're gonna need a real good one.
David Whiting is in the house. He's got a little bit of news for you. No homework today, but lots of advice to dispense. 1300 222 774 is the number. Now, let me see if I can find this message. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Virginia.
Mary in Ringwood texts this. Hi, Virginia. I love your session with David Whiting. It's the highlight of my day. But please change the intro music. It's terrible. Use the original one or something totally different. Thank you, says Mary in Ringwood. Mary, I love you. Thank you so much for listening. It's great to have you on board. No, the music stays. I'm sorry. Love the older bit, but totally love the new bit as well. It's The Cruel Sea, Tex Perkins up front. I recommend them to you. Give them a try. I'll post a few songs on my social media that you might actually want to link to, and I reckon you might like them. So have a listen to... Search up Cry For Me, Mary in Ringwood and others. So search for Cruel Sea, Cry For Me, and see if I can change your mind. David, good morning to you.
Good morning, Virginia.
What news have you got for us?
I like them both. I'm not sure I like them together, but I like them both.
It's the track change. You can hear the stylus being dragged across the...
Yes.
You get that, don't you?
Yes, I know, and you can buy those sounds too. You didn't even have to ruin a record to get them.
I'd never do that. What's the news out there?
This is my second last day in the office before 6 weeks from home.
Yep,
Can do most of it from home. I've been a techno junkie, I'm afraid, Virginia. So over the years, we've accumulated everything we need so that everybody's able to work from home. But it'll be slightly more difficult. And I think there are lots of law firms in the same situation. I get lots of emails from other law firms and from conveyancers that say, look, you can't come to visit at the office, but we can do Zoom and telephone. That's what most people are doing. You can now even do witness a will over Zoom or any of those other
Right, so you can do
Microsoft
that
Teams or
witnessing
Skype.
and the proper legal signing. You can just do it over Zoom. Well, of course you can, because you can see it.
Yeah, but they had to change the law to make it work.
Right.
I can now swear an affidavit over the phone, over the cameras. There's so many things that you're able to do.
Do you have to ask the person to hold up their driver's license to the camera so you can see they are who they say they are?
Well, that's the fascinating thing. We used to have for land titles office transactions, there was an argument that I couldn't fully identify you over the camera. They changed the rules with effect from the 1st of July to say, no, that doesn't apply. It actually needs to be physical. So don't know how we're going to get over that one, but I'm sure we will. But we can swear affidavits. The catch is that everybody assumes that the other person has a printer. What I'm finding is that lots of people don't have printers. They have a social media account. They have emails. They have the ability to communicate electronically, but they've never had to print anything. So what we're now doing is sending the documents out in the mail, and when they've got them, they ring us and we then swear them over Zoom.
Amazing. Hey, a quick question before we get to our callers. Given this new lockdown, stage 4, what is going on? What's continuing with the courts and with matters being heard and what's not?
Well, legal offices and accounting offices are closed. The businesses can operate if they can do it without attending the office, otherwise they must close. In terms of courts and tribunals, judicial officers and tribunal members are continuing to work. Exactly what they do is dependent upon what we call the head of jurisdiction, so the Chief Justice in the Supreme Court, the Chief Judge in the County Court, Chief Magistrate, President of VCAT. But they are urgent or priority or court matters determined by the head of jurisdiction. So, for example, I've got a directions hearing on Thursday in a Supreme Court matter. I have no idea what's happening.
Right.
So before we spoke this morning, I've looked at the websites for the major tribunals and courts in Victoria, and the answer would be they haven't made up their mind yet, or they haven't announced it yet. So I'm not expecting Thursday's directions hearing to take place.
Right.
So and the issue will be that registry staff will be reduced as well. So if I'm instructed to issue proceedings in the next 6 weeks, I don't know that I can, it seems to me that everything's on hold for the 6-week period, other than those matters which are urgent, like bail, family violence, remand, child protection, warrants and urgent guardianship, human rights or residential tenancy issues. So they're the highlighted priority matters,
Yep.
but it will be dependent upon each jurisdiction to determine what they'll take and what they won't.
Yeah, but we know that those priority matters, particularly in relation to family issues, that they are being heard as a matter of urgency, and you can get
Absolutely,
that.
and continue to be. So,
Exactly.
it might well be that we're actually able to move more judicial officers onto those matters, whereas at the moment it's currently a balance.
Okay, let's get some advice out there. 1300 222 774. James has called in from Eltham. Good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for taking my call.
Pleasure.
Don't know if you're the right person to ask, but
Probably not, James. But try.
I thought I'd try. Now, people are buying old number plates and personalised car rego plates as investments and spending enormous amounts of money on, hundreds of thousands of dollars on small digit.
Low digit number plates or digit or numbers that have something. See, I actually have Jag 222. Do not own a Jag, but I've got the plate. That
Right.
kind of thing.
Well, you are the right person to ask then. I'm told by someone who probably should know that when you die, if the rego plate's not on a car, Vic Roads will demand it back, and I'll just take it back. So
I don't know that. Who's going to tell them you've died, James? The extra plate I've got is on hold and in my name. So exactly the same. The answer would be you can transfer the ownership of the plate.
You can transfer it, but if you die, and you
No,
have,
James, still yours. Can't take it with you, obviously. But it
Never
would
a
be
truer
your
word was said.
not
Your
even
estate would have the ability to deal with it. Yes.
so they couldn't take it back.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That answers my question.
That's
Thanks
yours.
very much.
Good on you. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
calling
James.
in. Moira has called in from the Mornington Peninsula. Moira, have we spoken to you before?
You have.
And you've got some good news for us?
I have.
Tell.
I have wrestled a trustee company into relinquishing trusteeship, executorship. The cheap will, which was $35, has cost $1,000 in costs. 6 months of effort, local members, ombudsman, and God knows who else involved. But I've done it.
Congratulations, Moira.
Nice job.
Your persuasive skills are fantastic.
the
Mind
moral
you,
of the
I
story
don't know
is-
about 6 months. I'm at the office today, Moira, and I have transcripts of all of 7 years of programs. I can tell you we spoke on the 26th of May.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no,
you've
we
been
talked-
incredibly efficient.
Oh, well, I started in January.
Okay.
The moral of the story is if somebody's offered you a cheap will, rewrite it with somebody who actually charged you a proper amount.
Okay. Thank you, Moira.
Moira,
Lovely
I
endorsement.
think I think you're amazing. And look, Moira completely terrifies me. So why should we be surprised that that firm was terrified as well, David?
Yes, they certainly were.
Okay, now I think the name here is, forgive me if I've got this wrong, is it Reg in the Massington Rage? Is that right, Reg?
Correct.
Go right ahead.
How you going?
Well, thank you.
A workplace issue. We've got some staff that don't feel like it's safe enough for them to be at work. They're sort of, I suppose you could say, on the cold face. But of course, management is saying, oh, it's fine. And we're sort of, the staff are wondering, what can they do? Anything?
Well, I would have thought it would depend upon the nature of the workplace to try and assess whether you were right or wrong. All right, now it's not, the only way we would ever know would be to test the workplace. But I don't know you test surfaces, you tend to test people.
That's
so
right.
I would have said, I don't feel safe going to work, would not of itself, in my mind, say it's inappropriate for you to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So, you might come along and say, well, I'm not going to work. I want leave, but I don't know that you could come along and say, do you want to, you certainly couldn't come along and say, I want to be paid for not coming to work because I don't think it's safe.
Mm-hmm.
But isn't the workplace about to be closed down anyway, Reg?
Well, no.
Why not?
No, well, they think they're ploughing on.
Hang on, let's leave aside what they think. Are they on the list of industries that are allowed to stay open during this new shutdown from midnight tomorrow night or not?
Well, they seem to think that they're an essential service, but
But are they? Well, I've got the list here.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, have a look at the list, Reg. You can get it on the ABC website.
Okie doke.
It runs to 7 pages, and you can work out whether they are or they aren't. Your business might be closed on Thursday.
Or your business indeed should be closed on Thursday if it doesn't make the list. The essential services, let me just see if I can quickly grab it here. It's a rather short list and I can read that out pretty quickly, Reg. The essential services include supermarkets, bottle shops, pharmacies, petrol station, banks, post offices and news agencies. Are you one of those?
No.
No, then you're closed, mate. And you can tell them that too. Peter in Greensboro, good morning.
Oh, good morning. Thanks for taking my call. My inquiry relates to my son who's in hotel quarantining in Sydney after just returning from Europe. He's bought his ticket for the introduction of the fee for the hotel quarantining, but because he changed his ticket to leave from one city to another because that was an earlier date. He's now been, that purchase occurred after the introduction of the quarantining fee. He's now being asked to pay for the time in quarantining, which is about $3,000. Just wondering what to challenge that on, whether arguing that because the original idea to buy the ticket beforehand still stands.
There is a New South Wales government website that deals with what you can and can't do.
Oh, okay.
The provisions say that if following the purchase of the flights prior to the deadline, the airline changes the day or time of the flights, or cancels the flight, you won't get charged.
It was him that
but bookings made prior to the deadline and then cancelled are not able to be used as evidence of pre-booked travel.
Right.
Right. So if you were to search the New South Wales government website, the text, I used Sydney hotel quarantine cost, and it popped up. Have a look at that. The answer would be, it says clearly if you've cancelled the ticket and therefore rebooked, the answer would be sorry, but no thank you.
Really? And he actually bought that ticket. Okay, he changed the ticket because he got a sooner flight. The airline kept bumping him back and back and back, and it was heading into September when his flight was actually available. And then he changed departure from another city in the same country.
But can I just jump in?
You would run. I've got no difficulty with the argument. I think the argument works very well.
Yeah.
But you would need to give evidence of all of the flight cancellations.
Yep. Okay.
And even then, you're going to ask and have no right.
But even then, Peter, I think given they changed that recently, the state government's going to say we changed it. We're now requiring people themselves to pay for it rather than us covering it.
They did that, Virginia. But what they basically said is, if you bought your ticket before the 18th of July, then they'll pay. So Peter's son's caught in the middle.
In the middle of that, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Depends how hard you want to push it, Peter.
Yep. Well, we're going to push it hard.
Okay. Let us know how you go. Thanks so much. Caroline is in East Malvern. Hi, Caroline. What's going on?
Good morning, Virginia. And can I just put in a big a vote for Tex Perkins and the Cruel Sea?
Thank you very much.
Please keep it.
Thank you.
People need to listen to that whole song. It's great. It's funny. It's witty.
I think so too.
And it's bang on. Now, my query probably seems quite trivial given everything that's going on because it relates to fences. But I'll ask it nonetheless. My mum's property, the neighbour has asked for us to go halves in building a new fence, which is all fine and good. They have a shed that's right on the fence line. It's about, 15, well, it's actually about 10 centimetres away from the fence line. And I would argue that it's actually helped push the fence over because of water runoff and things like that. The other issue is it's it overhangs the fence line by about 3 or 4 centimetres, and the neighbour wants a higher fence, and it couldn't be built without hitting that fence, the roof line. I've spoken to the neighbour and just said, look, happy to go halves in the fence, but the shed's the issue, and she's agreed to go away and think about it, and it's not urgent given everything else that's going on. It doesn't have a building permit, the shed, and I'm not sure that it needs one, having a look at the building regs. My 2 questions are...
When it was constructed, Caroline?
We reckon it's about 14 years ago.
Yep.
And I think it's just on the border of being 2.4 metres high. So I don't know. And there's all the rules around how far away from the fence it is and how high it is. It's not a big shed either. It's not 10 square metres. My 2 questions are, do I have any right to ask the neighbour to move the shed or alter the roof line to accommodate the new fence? Because I've said to her I'm not going to move the fence line to accommodate it. And secondly, could she make any adverse possession claim for that part of the roof that overhangs the fence if it goes over 15 years?
She's not going to get up on an adverse possession claim for this funny little shaped thing in the air.
Good. I thought so, but I can't find that anywhere.
Okay. Property Law Act, you'll find it.
Great, thank you.
So she doesn't succeed in that, or your neighbour doesn't succeed there. What you might do is, if you look at the Fences Act, what you're interested in is an argument that says, I need to be able to clear space to do the fence properly, and in order to do that, you might need to move your shed back. So if you get to the point of having a fencing summons, that might be an issue that you raise. Who's got the palings and who's got the posts?
Palings and posts are on my side, but she reckons that her...
No, you can't have both on your side. You either have the palings or the posts.
I've got the posts.
Okay, well then there isn't room to put palings on.
Yeah, that's what I've said to her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it might be appropriate to consider what kind of fence you would put at that point. You might choose wire for the length of the shed.
Yeah.
Right, so have a look. And my view is you could probably get the...
Sorry, I was going to say her contractor was talking about some elaborate change of the palings from one side of the fence to the other when it hits the shed. And I can't see how that would work and how it would make sense.
Well, it would work, but it wouldn't be particularly attractive.
No.
And what you're then doing is you're then actually moving the fence line, because
exactly right.
the fence line is the face of the post next to the palings. You know, a fence post is about 100 mil square.
Yep.
So it's 4 inches in for old people like me, and that shifts the boundary. So if we left the post in the right place and moved the palings, then all of a sudden your neighbour picks up 4 inches of your property.
Indeed.
So they're the issues that so either consider whether you might do something else in the middle, but she won't get a adverse possession claim in respect of your airspace, but you might ask her to make sure that the whole of her shed is clear of your property.
Yeah.
Good luck, Caroline.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in. On the matter that we had just before in the Macedon Rages, it's been pointed out on text, and yes, you're quite right, text, is that, of course, because they're under stage 3 restrictions, that they won't be subject to the same complete lockdown that Metropolitan Melbourne will for stage 4. So, yes, thank you for pointing that out. But really the more important point is that every workplace that's going on has to be COVID safe. And so a call needs to be made, surely, if you have concerns, David, that if it's not COVID safe, perhaps I'd say, maybe to work cover or to have a look and to someone to come and inspect and see if it's okay.
I would like that to happen, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, if you have serious concerns that those laws and those regulations are being flouted and people's health's being put at risk, well, there's actually a range of places you can go to get an immediate intervention and someone to take a look at that. Let's hear from Hassan in Oakley. Hassan, good morning.
Good morning, Virginia and David.
Go ahead.
I have a question for David about missing person. What is the criteria about it? It is my daughter. She was under the family violence case with her husband. and it ends that they took the kids from her and they put them under my care for now 14, 15 months. Since that time and before, about 12 years ago, since she married, I never see her. I never went to her house or where
So
she
you have
is.
your grandchildren, do you?
Grandchildren here with me.
Yes.
2 boys, 10 years and 7 years old, and they are under my care now for 15 months by the Child Protection Agency.
Yes.
Recently, I received email from the Child Protection that they looking for where she is to meet her.
Hassan, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Is there any reason why she would be avoiding you?
I have no idea because her husband is under control here. She's born here in Australia, and her husband married her to get residency.
Yes.
And as soon as he married her, he took her from her job and cut her from all her friends and her family, even her sister and brother. She blocked them to contact. They not allowed to contact her because they block her.
I understand, but there's a difference between a person who, for whatever reason, chooses not to contact family and friends and someone who's missing. So why every now and then you'll get a call from, or I'll get a call from someone that says, I can no longer get in contact with, and it's because of the choice made by the other person. But so what you can do is you can report your daughter as missing.
Yeah.
You know, these are all of her regular people. These are the ones she's spoken to. We can't find them. And the police will have access to things like Centrelink records.
Yeah.
So they may contact her and say, you've been reported as missing. What do you say? So it is possible for you to report, but the mere fact that your daughter chooses not to contact you is not of itself sufficient to make her a missing person.
I understand, but the point, she's not even contacting her kids for 15 months now.
No, and that is one of the extra factors that you give to the police. So that
Hassan,
you're concerned about her safety.
Hassan, do you know if her husband is around?
Yeah, I know where he is.
And
He
but
he said, I divorced her, I don't see her, I don't meet her, I don't know where she is.
so the husband is around, and you have contact with him.
No, I don't contact because I'm not even want to talk to him.
Okay, but you know that he's around somewhere.
Yeah.
But she just seems to have disappeared from the face of the earth in your experience.
Yeah, and also the child protection, they try to make her organize some time to see her kids, and she postponed this, and she didn't want to do it. And I'm worried about her welfare because her husband can do anything with her because he's under control, controlling her.
We'll just be careful there, Hassan. I'm going to pop you on hold. Let's take your details. In the meantime, what do you have to advise here, David?
He meets all of the eligibility requirements for a missing person report.
So he can go to the police and make such a report.
Well, it's because if you think what Hassan has said, presumably I get married, I lose all of my relationship with my other family because of the relationship I'm now in, and now that's come to an end, but I haven't gone back to the old family. To me, that's a concern, yes.
Okay. Hassan, we will take your details, and it's a potentially very serious matter, so we just want to make sure that we're across that and giving what assistance we can. David, thanks so much for today. No homework, huh?
Oh, another day off.
Good luck with moving back into lockdown. Good luck to all of us in that regard. Nice to chat. Thanks, David. And let's do a quick call of the board for you of so many text messages coming in about the music. Arthur says, yes, I agree with the opening is ruined, and it just goes to show, Virginia, you know nothing about music, says Arthur. Jack in Ballarat says, yes, I so love the mashup of the new old David Whiting intro. Peter in Broadford says, I agree with Mary, the Perry Mason theme without the jarring juxtaposition was much better. JL from Ringwood says, completely with you, Virginia, about the intro music for David Whiting's segment, and on and on and on it goes. I'd say fairly divided, or I might skew the results and say no, it leans more towards Tex Perkins. Actually, yes, let's go with that, shall we?